Story continuing to develop this morning. Russia now offering a $50 million reward for any information to those who downed a plane in Egypt late last month. This following word from Russian officials as well just a few hours ago that they are ready now to admit that it was a terror act that caused the crash, killing 224 people. The Metrojet plane was traveling from the Egyptian resort city of Sharm el-Sheikh to St. Petersburg when it went down not long after takeoff, October 31st. Immediately, ISIL claimed responsibility. Almost all the victims were Russian. And now an investigation by Russia's security service has concluded, saying traces of foreign explosives were found in the wreckage, possibly from a 1-kilogram bomb. The findings back up strong suspicions reached weeks ago from the U.S. and U.K. intelligence officials that terrorists planted a bomb. President Vladimir Putin is vowing to find and punish those who caused the crash. Also new this morning, authorities have 2 airport employees in custody suspected of helping to plant that explosive. The latest now in the response to the Paris attacks. France carrying out new airstrikes against the ISIL stronghold of Raqqa this morning, hitting command and training centers in Syria. The latest aerial campaign marks a second straight night of assaults targeting ISIL. The U.S. also striking Syria, hitting more than 100 oil trucks. French President François Hollande has announced he is deploying the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier Thursday, tripling his country's airstrike capacity against ISIL. And Cynthia Mulligan, who is in Paris, joins us once again this morning with the very latest out of the City of Lights. And Cynthia, the first thing I want to know this morning is, how is the mood today? And it's about noon, the noon hour there. How is it today compared to yesterday even?
Well, it's still very subdued, Kevin. It's just that there's a different feel to this city right now. And I think it's going to take some time before we see it really getting back to normal. This would be the second day that students and people have returned to work. But at the same time, the streets feel much more empty than usual. I walked around for hours yesterday and until quite late last night. And, the cafes are empty. The people who would normally be filling the sidewalk cafes, there are only a handful here and there. There's actually a Canadian pub along the Seine near Notre Dame, and I went in there last night around 8 o'clock or so. And one of the staff members there told me that normally that bar would be packed because there was a big game. And he said, you look around, there's only about 10 people there. So people are staying home. And when I was walking by Notre Dame, a Parisian came up to me and he said, "What are you doing here all alone? Aren't you afraid?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, why are you here?" And I said, "I'm a journalist." And he said, "Oh, that explains it. Everybody else is staying at home because they're scared." And one interesting thing, Kevin, to note is the police officers and army gathered in areas that are typically quite busy, the train station, public elementary schools, the Louvre, the Eiffel Tower. Now, when I was there yesterday, the Eiffel Tower hadn't quite opened yet. I know it has reopened now since the attacks, but there were very few tourists around, and I didn't see any visible sign of security until a man came out, and he was acting a little unusual. He had a backpack and a small roller suitcase, and within seconds he was surrounded by police. An officer had a rifle pointed right at him. At one point it was right at his head, while he was searched thoroughly. And then within seconds, out of nowhere, the army came out and they formed a huge circle around the whole scene. And it was really fascinating how quickly they jumped to anything that was suspicious. And to be really honest with you, Kevin, I would not have considered that man to be all that suspicious looking at all.
Wow. And Cynthia, as well, we learned this morning that a Canadian was among the injured, although right now Foreign Affairs has not released a hometown or the extent of the injuries. This is high in there as more and more nations learn about their connections. And so now, what are you going to be doing today?
You know, today I'd like to talk to people about the potential for the state of emergency to be extended for another 3 months. And that means that the scene I saw at the Eiffel Tower could continue. I mean, it gives police and the army far more powers to search people. So I'd like to understand what people feel about that, how they feel about that, if they think that that's a good idea, or if it's just going to extend the prolonged mourning and feeling that all is not right in Paris, or if it would make them feel safer. I'm also going to go back to the restaurants where the people were murdered. I'd like to see the flowers and how much they've grown. I haven't been there. I didn't go there yesterday. I was there the day before, and it was an incredible monument. But I'd like to go back now and get a feel for the mood, because they're in an area that's very popular for locals, not tourists, but locals. And I think I'll get a good sense of how people are feeling there.
All right. You can follow Cynthia's through her tweets. She's tweeting a lot of information, a lot of pictures at City Cynthia. Thank you for this, Cynthia.